Good morning, everybody. It's Chris from Serene Education with your 4 major notes update for the 29th of August 2013. Morning, folks. Hope you had a good day yesterday. We had some movement yesterday, and today it seems to be following the same suit. Looking at the 4 majors, here you can see US dollar. Looking at the actual indicator box, here you can quite clearly see that the sentiment in today very much negative. This is what we want to see, guys. If you want to see a true selling indicator, this is exactly what you want to see. Everything looking negative in this case, and the R squared complementing that negativity. So we know that the actual sentiment is genuinely negative intraday. The long-term sentiment very much upside for euro, and you can quite clearly see we have been in a very much strong up move. However, quite clearly we have failed here on a number of occasions in the past, and subsequently yesterday's candle in particular has yet again given us a signal after 3 prior days of indecision at a resistance that the sentiment is bearish. And sure enough, on the Asian session last night to the European session open this morning, we've had a nice bearish engulfing candle or further drop to the downside, and we've seen a drop of roughly around about 70 pips this morning or through the Asian session. So going into the European session, it sure looks negative for the foreseeable future. We see the RMO coming unstuck. Lower high has been made here. The MACD is very much below the 0 line, and you can quite clearly see that we had a tapering effect happening. So the highs were getting lower, and sure enough we had this major resistance level. So as it stands at the moment now, we should be looking for further negativity to the downside. In this case, we have a red arrow candle. However, on a daily we still have blue candles themselves because we're still making higher highs. The intraday scenario would be one of negativity. So if I want to take the current low that we had on our daily down here in early July to the current high that we've seen just recently in August, you can see that the 23.6 fib retracement is in play as we speak. We've had a lot of consolidation in this area in the past. So ideally, if you're going to see further sentiment to the downside, would ideally use the 23.6 now intraday as our resistance level. So price has got to fail now at this level. Ideally, a nice 4-hour candle close below that would go a long way to confirm that the sentiment intraday is still one of negativity. And then we can start looking towards that 38.2 fib retracement down here, which is not too far away from the overall 38 weekly fib retracement and the institution moving average as our first potential target for the foreseeable future. So where the 23.6 is to that 38, we're looking at a good 100 pips, but overall there's 128 on the table. So 4-hour, straight away you can hear we get a sell signal, and you look at the 4-hour, everything's looking negative, and the R squared is complementing that negativity. The institution, as I mentioned now, the 23.6 on the daily is in effect, but you can see now on the 4-hour the institution moving averages there quite clearly. So ideally, as I mentioned, we would need to see a nice 4-hour candle close lower. If it closes lower than the institution, then it's primarily going to tell us that we should still be looking negative, because if price is trading below an institution moving average on any time frame, it is one of a negative sign. So got to be patient here. We have another 48 minutes to wait for this 4-hour candle to close. You can see that in the RMO indicator here, very much a strong trend. There's only been 1 or 2 occasions where prices actually traded below the 0 line, but you can still see we were still above the institution, so still positive, and subsequently we saw a follow through to the upside. Here, trading below. However, this 4-hour candle is testing the institution now, so this is a very negative scenario setup, and we just got to be patient now for the close. Once we get that close, then we can start looking to the downside, as I mentioned, towards that the daily fib here at the 38.2, but also the weekly 38.2 fib retracement, which is a good 100 pips and change away. So be patient with this particular pair. Sterling against US dollar. Yesterday we had Carney having his first speech as governor, and what we saw was sterling really falling or trading lower at the start of play. However, during the course of that morning after his news announcement, we saw a very bullish stance with sterling, and price moved higher. However, what's happened on the Asian session is we've seen prices reattempting the low side. Very small trading range on this particular pair. You can quickly see if I just move in here, you can see very indecisive Asian session going into the European session, and the indicator box is very much negative. Bits of blue here and there, but the overall sentiment is very much negative, and you can see the R squared is pretty much red, so there's no true sentiment. So we've got to be patient in this case. As it stands now, we've seen price making lower swings. After a couple of days ago we saw a swing low. So as it stands at the moment now, it's trading below the 20 period moving average. We have the institution and the 50 period moving average in front of us to the downside at the 38.2 mark. So where price is trading right now to this level, there's a healthy 100 pips to that level, and we should be looking for that overall negative sentiment still to factor in for sterling. Here again, just look and see if there's any news out this morning to see if there's anything going to factor in. I failed to mention that for euro in particular, we have the German prelim CPI month-to-month figures. We also have the German unemployment change figures, and we have the Italian 10-year bond auction for the euro session. So it's important news for euro. If we do see those coming out positive for euro, then we can obviously see a nice bounce to the upside for that particular pair. Sterling, nothing at the moment out for sterling, but however, we could see if any euro news does come out, will it reflect positive or negative on the euro? You might look at starting to trade. If we get some positive figures for euro, then we could look at potentially doing a long trade against sterling on the euro sterling cross. So there are opportunities to trade that. So as it stands at the moment, the upside trend is further up. However, the intermediate trend is negative. We've seen price falling low. It's trading below the weekly fib. So the next level would be the weekly 32.8 fib level, which is back towards the institution. The indicator box is still painting a negative picture, as I mentioned. RMO is testing the zero line, but the MACD is clearly below. So be careful. We are seeing indecision. We want to see further decision. So rather see if we can get some confirmation this morning on a 4-hour time frame to see if we can trade lower. US dollar Swiss franc, like its European counterpart, we have on euro US dollar we've seen a major resistance. Here we've seen a major support. We've been in this position back in June of this year. We reattempted it first thing in August. We tested again in mid-August, and we're testing it in late August. And here we had a tweezer bottom, which failed to really materialize. We saw prices testing the 23.6 fib retracement on the weekly and failed yet again. However, we've had another bullish engulfing candle after yesterday's news, and you can see on the Asian session prices are reattempting the 23.6 mark here on the fib on the weekly. Indicator box in the intraday very much positive to the upside. The long-term sentiment negative, and you can quite clearly see fallen, but the intraday sentiment is very much positive. RMO is still below the zero line, however it's making higher highs. MACD is trading above. So we see in the stance where in this consolidation range, the MACD is clearly started to get bullish. RMO is going to take a bit of time to follow suit because it's trend related. We've got to see a break of a major support and resist or trend line. You can see we've seen swing lows. Ideally, we need to be trading above the 23.6 here to be long-term positive. So it's building on that sentiment. We've got to get above the 23.6 here in order to see further longs to the upside. You can see the institution moving average here would be primarily our long-term target, but ideally for that to occur, we would need to see a nice close above the weekly fib here, and then we could start looking at another healthy 66 pips to that institution. Get above that, then it's nice clean air, and we should see price rallying back up towards the monthly fibs here at the 23.6. So here, look for that intraday upside, look for buying opportunities, but be well aware that the 23.6 intraday is going to be a major or a potential resistance level as price is consolidated there on a number of occasions. So 92.88 is going to be a resistance level. So you could do one or two things: be quite aggressive and trade into that level, but you're taking a lot more risk on board, or wait for the confirmed break and close higher than that level and then trade confidently back up towards this level over here, the institution moving average, before we start looking at higher highs. Last pair of the day, the US dollar Japanese yen. The US dollar bouncing yet again on the institution. So this institution moving average on the daily, very much of being a supportive indicator, and that's what tends to happen. Prices tend to fall back towards the institution if they're not moving away, and that's clearly what's happened. We saw a lot of selling into the institution. However, yesterday's bullish engulfing candle at the 23.6 on the weekly fib has seen price bounce higher, and the Asian session we've seen some good news for the US dollar against the yen, and we're seeing higher highs trading above the daily fib 38.2. so that could be our intraday support. So we go to a 4-hour time frame. You can see quite clearly the breakout, the pullback, and now the continuation high. Trading into the institution on the 4-hour, guys, and also the downtrend. So if you're looking to trade this now, you're taking a lot of risk on board because of the fact that we have the institution and we have the trend line. Ideally, for this to be long-term positive, got to see the daily fib here at the 50% being broken. You can see quite clearly when we've traded into this range in the past, we've failed to really move higher, and subsequently prices fallen back. You can trade it. I'm not saying you shouldn't be trading it, but just be aware of the risk involved because you're trading a tighter range. So if you are looking to trade this intraday, yes, we've seen 1, 2, 3 attempts now of support, which is good. The longer it happens, the more likely price is going to start favoring the upside. However, I'd like to give this back to the market, get a genuine confirmed break above here, and then I could start looking at trading rather decisive movement. There's less hesitation in this movement over here. You can see there's less to impede price moving higher once we get into this range. So rather be patient for those that are more that are trading longer terms, and then you shall be rewarded. I mean, there's a good 100 pips of profit in this range over here. Here there's about 40, but you're trading into a very aggressive for one, the institution moving average, but also the downtrend. So the intraday time frames from 30-minute, hourly, and 4-hour, the R squared isn't complementing that, and that's what I'm really worried about. I'd like those to be very much with me to be a genuine move to the upside. So I've got to take that on board and factor that in. So it's good that price is moving high, because this is something I'm really watching. I've put my trigger alerts above the 50% retracement on the daily. Get a close above that, then they've got my attention. So that's it, guys. Short and sweet, to the point. Please, if you're going to use this template, please back it up with some management rules. Very, very important. And if you are interested in trading this particular template, please get hold of us at sereneeducation.com. info@sereneeducation.com for further information. Other than that, I'm going to leave you to it. Please look to see if there's any news announcements today that could actually factor in price action. Once you understand how important they are, look and see what prices are doing. Is it going to give you a further confirmation? Wait. If it does, then you'll get your confirmation, and then you can trade the outcome. Okay. Other than that, I'm going to leave you to it. Have a fantastic trade now. Catch you guys first thing tomorrow morning. Until then, you guys trade serenely.